Radio Sega, Winterfest 2019.
Get ready.
It's that time of the year again. It's Winterfest on Radio Sega, and that means we've dug Radio Redux out from the cupboard that we keep it in. You know, next to those gifts that you're going to re-gift. It's like the gift that keeps on giving, but once a year. We've got lots of chat and music over the next couple of hours, and we're going to start it off with some Sonic Forces, because why not? This is Fighting Onward for Spaceport. Here's John Underdown. There we go. Fighting Onward, the Spaceport. John Underdown there from the Sonic Forces vocal tracks. With its double X because, I don't know, something Wavemaster just loves apparently. Maybe it's just Jun. Double X for tracks because we're cool and we're Sonic and we're still channeling the 90s apparently. Whatever the case, the On The Edge album. Now, I've still yet to play Sonic Forces, mainly just the fact that really didn't grab me at the time and still continues to fail to do so. But it's actually a topic that divides the LMC crew quite a lot. I know Titans Creed is very pro Sonic Forces as a game. And as a sort of fun experience. I know a number of other members of the LMC crew, as I term the expanded staff of Last Minute Continue, don't like it in the slightest. And I can kind of understand their reasons why that might be the case. But for me personally, especially the last year, I've actually grown a deep appreciation for the music of Sonic Forces, and especially the stuff that's actually on that On The Edge album. If you've yet to hear it, because you've not had the opportunity, because you've not were interested in Sonic Forces or what have you, I would very much recommend, one, getting hold of the album yourself, two, listening to it perhaps on YouTube if you want to do that, or three, when all of this winter stuff is done on Radio Sega, perhaps start putting in some requests via the request system for Sonic Forces related music. Seriously, it's really, really good, and among the best music that the Sonic franchise has put out in a long time. Sorry, I'm not that keen on the Mania stuff. Does that much like the game doesn't grab me for Forces, the music doesn't grab me for Mania? I don't know why. It's one of those, it should, but it doesn't. Just me. Anyway, hello once again, as I say, Radio Redux here, the podcast radio show, as was from what was Sonic Rex and has obviously been for many, many years now, Last Minute Continue. Hello, I'm Kevin, who's also known as AUK and Archange UK, or used to be. Once upon a time, in the dim and distant past, the Sonic-related community manager for Sega Europe, among other things, and just the big boss of Last Minute Continue now. Welcoming you back to Radio Redux. What is this? What show would be this? This is 90. This is my show note number is 904, so that would be episode 204. Our fourth year of doing Winterfest. Radio Sega inviting us back yet again to take the show out the mothballs, dust it down, give it a quick once over with the Hoover. You know, it's probably a spider nesting somewhere in where where Auto DJ used to be. Because this isn't actually being broadcast live. If you're actually listening to this on Radio Sega during Winterfest, because I am a busy man now. When haven't I been? Let's be honest. But because I am a busy man, and I don't have the time to go through the absolute faff of setting up all the DJ stuff again on this computer, because I remember what a pain in the backside it was last time. We're not broadcasting this live. Sorry, this is on the recording. This is me actually speaking on the 14th of December. So as I'm speaking to you via this microphone, Winterfest is actually going on already. And we've already had some great stuff on, like the return of Sega Drivens, Cyber Razor Cut, with Lewis, old Sonic Yoda, doing his bit. That was nice to see him back. Turbo's back. Turbo, who basically, him and Biafra kept Sega Sonic Radio, if you remember that. Kept that going for years, just pretty much on his own. He's back, brought the original Turbo Drive Live back for a show, which is great to see. We're going to see if we can get like the archive of Turbo Drive Live shows up on Last Minute Continue or something. That's what Last Minute Continue is slowly turning into, just like archiving all the old crap from the community. It really is. To that end, one of the things I'm actually doing at the minute is I'm collating a lot of old Summer of Sonic related videos from channels that have like been defunct, etc. And getting that, and we've got some stuff already from likes of Sega Nerds. Sega Nerds are like giving me their archive stuff. Ben, who's also known as Rio, and he had another name as well in the community. He's giving me his stuff. Sega Shiro giving me their stuff. And we're going to put a lot together. There's a lot of stuff, actually, old Summer of Sonic stuff that you guys might not have seen before. There's a heck of a lot of stuff that I didn't know existed, it turns out. But we're sort of rescuing it from these various places. So, If you're not familiar with Radio Redux, because we've been around for ages, and I know we've sort of just gone to this sort of format of once a year, we'll put out a show just because people actually enjoy it. Radio Redux, if you're not familiar with me, Kevin, and everything else, we don't actually play by the rules because we were doing our own thing beforehand, before coming to RadioSEGA and stuff. So this is the point in the Winterfest weekend, or 3 days as it is. This is the point where the idea of it being RadioSEGA kind of just sort of like disappears. We sort of draw a curtain over it and pretend that actually there isn't like rules for that, because Radio Redux doesn't care. Since when did LMC care about anything regarding the rules? We just do our own thing. We do our own thing. People remember us vaguely, and they come back occasionally and wonder why there isn't any more music to download on the site. That's pretty much it. Actually, we spend our time just making videos and doing Let's Plays and stuff nowadays, and we're far more happy about that, believe it or not. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Twitch. Follow us everywhere, actually. Funnily enough, we're on Twitter at LastMinContinue. We're on Twitch, twitch.tv/LastMinuteContinue. It's /LastMinuteContinue for Facebook. It's /Last Minute Continue for Instagram, which is sort of a joint me one. Anyway, lots and lots of stuff. But so because of this, anyway, getting back to the point I was trying to make once upon a time, we're not, constrained, if you like, by those rules and guidelines. That means I can play whatever I like. Yeah. So it means that whilst there will be Sega stuff on, it was 2 hours for goodness sake. We can have Sega and Sonic related stuff. We just had some, for goodness sake. We started the show off with it. But it does mean that I get to do stuff like, say, I don't know, the next track's from Undertale. Incidentally, the next track's from Undertale. We've got Snowy from Toby Fox there from Undertale. Then we're gonna rewind it back many years to Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell Double Agent, the most festive game you could possibly think of, and the track Iceland Fight, which is very good by Michael McCann. And those are the next 2 tracks coming up. And what we'll do is we'll have another track after that, but I'll tell you about that at the time, okay? So when you come back, I'll tell you a little bit more about what's going on today, what's been happening with me the last year. We'll have a little bit of a chat, a little bit of a natter, some laughs, some jokes, some more music. There's lots of it coming today, from all manner of sources, remixes too, stuff you've not heard. You should enjoy it. We'll be right back. First up, though, here's Undertale. That's the way I like it for Metal Harbor, the Sonic Adventure Music Experience version, obviously from Sonic Adventure 2. You know what? I was very fortunate to be able to go to the Sonic Adventure Music Experience live in the UK that happened earlier in December. It was a Summer of Sonic Presents, which is basically Adam and Sven present, because apart from me, no one else knew that it was even a matter of discussion that happening. That was an interesting thing earlier this year. I will admit, I had heard that this was being discussed. I heard about that beginning of 2018 from Sven in passing at one of our sort of regular meetings. That they've been discussing the possibility of it, happening and what have you, and it wasn't really happening. Didn't hear anything else after that at all, and nobody else in the Summer of Sonic team knew. And then all of a sudden it was announced, and it was Summer of Sonic Presents, and the rest of the team, i.e., the guys that had been around for a decade, doing Summer of Sonic, where everybody was like, I guess that's happening then. Awkward. Whatever the case, it was great to see Jun, obviously, up on stage performing. Sven and Adam doing a fantastic job getting that funded and through, with all the various higgledy-piggledy bits in the way behind the scenes that you would come to expect from having to, work with both sides of the Atlantic and Japan with Sega. Politics doesn't exist anymore there, kids. No, not at all. Anyway, loads of fun. Great to see everybody. Even better, actually, because all the Summer of Sonic guys were together. All the LMC guys and the sort of associated guys. We were sort of all Sega driven and what have you, and we also radio say we were all together, because we all sort of met up and we're in the pub, and everyone else was queuing up in the cold still, and they were waiting to go in still, and it was taking forever. It was always going to take forever. And okay, well, screw this. We've earned it. We're gonna just stay in the pub. And just have drinks and chat and socialise. And then we all went out together, and the people were going, there are people still coming. There's people still coming into the queue. It was yeah, we did. But it was such a long queue, and we literally got in as the show was starting for our group. But we were still able to get a pretty decent view on things. But the fact about I know a lot of people were very upset in that queue, and I can obviously understand why. We were having a whale of a time. We were ripping the piss out of absolutely everything that was going on, ripping the piss out of Sleigh. We were making up fantastical stories of what Sven and Adam were doing, because we sort of went, it went from, we're not working it, to, wait, we're not working this. We don't have to... Wait, it's not our fault if it goes wrong. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it goes wrong. We don't have to worry about it. There's no stress. It's just a question of just standing around with your mates chatting. This is really nice. We could get used to this. Yeah, you guys do all the work from now on. I think this is great. So getting there, seeing Jun perform on stage with the other members of the band was fantastic. The reason why I play Metal Harbor there, because it's the first time I've heard Metal Harbor played live. I suspect that would be the same for quite a lot of the people that were there, and I didn't realise how much I needed that in my life. That's what I said to folks after. I didn't realise how much I needed to experience Metal Harbor live in my life. That to me was one of the highlights of the thing. Although in utter fairness, the true highlight was Act, the drummer, whose birthday it was on the day actually. as Jun revealed. But Jun also said that he grew up with Sonic Adventure music, Adventure 2 and what have you. And a spontaneous and extremely sincere chant started up. One of us, one of us, one of us. I honestly, it ranks up there in terms of the moments I have been most proud of that community, of the Sega community. And they've always been welcoming. Most of them always been welcoming in terms of everything that's going on. In terms of they've always been incredibly inclusive, and I've defended Sonic fans to the hilt in other companies and what have you, because there's this reputation that obviously Sonic fans have, and I suspect will continue to have, forever. But they've always been so inclusive, long before it was, the thing to be. They always that, and they reached, and the fact that the crowd reached out to act, and just like you are one of us, you are our friend, welcome. As one, and it echoed through the night as well on a couple of occasions, to the point where actually people weren't sure what to do at one point, because everyone was still chanting one of us. And Jen's like, yes, he's one of you. And they went, hey! It was great fun. But like I say, Metal Harbor was fantastic. Hearing Radical Highway live was great. It was weird, actually, because of the way that Radical Highway is done in the same version. I was watching I knew it was Radical Highway they were playing. I was watching Radical Highway on the video screen behind. And for the life of me, I was going, is that really Radical Highway? There was just something about it didn't seem to gel. But fantastic time at same. Like I said, met a number of. Oh, actually, by the way, I should add. Whilst it was Summer Sleigh present, it was actually Junsonoy.com was also helping out a lot behind the scenes, and they deserve a lot of credit too. People came up to me afterwards and just sort of come going, yeah, it was from that, and I'm like, I've no idea who you are. I know you've done a lot of work and what have you, just like, but apart from Benji, I don't know any of the Jinsonoy guys. So, but like I say, absolutely brilliant. I got to see Ash. Ash was there from Sonic Paradise. I've been talking about Ash and saying how important Ash is to the community for ages, and got to see her. She came all the way from Spain, and I thought that was fantastic. Seriously, people, more love needs to go for Sonic Paradise. They do a hell of a lot. Check them out. Especially if English isn't your first language. Check out. Because it's them and the French sites that really do so much work for the Sonic community behind the scenes. And for the non-English speaking community, those should be your two stops, if I'm honest. Brilliant resources too, and really well done. Good news outlet too as well. So yeah, keep them in mind in the future. Here ends the plug for everybody else. Like I say, but so it's great to catch up with people. Got to hang out with the Radio Sega crew. The night before, we took over the where was it? It was Loading Bar. We went in London. We took over the downstairs essentially. Skyblaze, my old work colleague, Skyblaze was there. She was putting out some fantastic music. I asked for Night Flight, and she didn't have it. I'm not going to hold that against her. But that has reminded me I want to add Night Flight to this track list later. I always try and play Night Flight. You should know this by now. It's the Outrun track that nobody remembers, really, and it should get more love. This entire segment of me talking has been about give other people more love. Go on, give them more love. Anyway, next up, we've got some remixes, actually. First up, we've got Cold, Wired and Scared. which is Spark Mandrill versus Blizzard Buffalo. It's from OC Remix's Grand Maverick Remix Battle 2010, so we've got some Mega Man stuff here. And the remixer is Black Panther. So bear that in mind. That's going to be your first track. After that, we are going to... actually, you know what we're going to do? We mentioned him earlier, so let's have him again. We're from Jun Sonoi's The Works 2 album, Battle for Justice 2, the chain band version. That's going to be your second track. And the third track is by the Blake Robinson Synthetic Orchestra. And it's from the Stanley Parable. But first, Black Panther and the Grand Maverick Remix Battle 2010 album, Cold, Wired and Scared.
Pain has a face. Allow me to show it to you. I am pain. To show you.
Once upon a time, there was a man named Stanley, and that was some of the music from his game. Introducing Stanley there by the Blake Robinson Synthetic Orchestra from the Stanley Parable. Ultra Deluxe, of course. The updated, expanded version coming to Switch and everywhere else. That was due out this year, never came, got delayed. So 2020, look forward to that, see what changed with regard to all the endings. Hope you're enjoying Winterfest so far, and if you're an old-timer for Radio Redux, glad to see you back. Radio Redux, by the way, is also on Spotify now. All the various LMC things. We've got LMC Cast. That's on there. That's a monthly thing that the rest of the crew does, actually. It's not something that I do myself, but the likes of... So Turbo's normally host, or sometimes it's Earth Arts. And then you've got the likes of Vidra on there, and TA Black, and Shadow Fox, and other folks. And they just basically chat, about what they watched over the last month. All the films they've watched, the TV shows they've watched, the anime they've watched, what manga they've been reading, books, what music and albums they've been listening to, what comics, what games they've been playing. And they basically just have a big, wonderful discussion about that, of what they're doing, what they're enjoying, what their thoughts were, what's about the latest things they've seen in the cinema, all manner of things regarding that. They just sit down and have a nice chat. Well worth checking out if you don't do so already. You can find that on iTunes and on Spotify, like I say, or just on the Last Minute Continue website itself. Who knows? Maybe it'll come to Radio Sega at some point. There's like a little monthly special. I'd be up for that if those guys are handing it over. But yeah, an opportunity for them to sign. And of course, otherwise, if you're a wrestling fan, you should definitely be watching the other Last Minute Continue YouTube channel for Last Minute Kickout, LMKO, which also has a audio version, podcast version available on all good podcast-related stockists. And some you've probably not heard of, but it helps with Google search listing. But that's enough of that. What are you hoping to get for Christmas? Well, I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm getting. You know what? I say that. I know exactly what I'm getting for Christmas because I ordered it. There comes a point where you just go, especially if you've got family stuff, and they move and they're coming to you. If family are coming to you to stay for Christmas, which is the case now. And, they've not necessarily got a car. It's actually just easy to say, hey, just give me a budget and I'll buy stuff for me. So I am actually getting a lovely, not a boom mic, but, like a mic, a new microphone. I've had this microphone here for as long as Radio Redux has been going, I think. I think that's the case. Might have been like season 2 or something. But this is literally the microphone that I've always had for the most part. And it's, it's lovely and all. And I'm fond of it and I'm still using it, obviously, lots. But I'm getting a nice adjustable arm and a new microphone of much higher quality. And that's going to be my little main present, if you like, for the year. So I can enjoy stuff when I'm doing my Twitch streaming. Goodness me, there's lots of stuff coming out next year. There's lots of videos going up on YouTube. LMC's YouTube actually is going to... It puts up one video a day without fail. But as of about February next year, it's actually going to go to 2 videos. MC, we've got a ridiculous amount of stuff at the minute going up. I've still got to edit all manner of other things, such as... There's an episode of Uncutting Careers waiting to be edited up, but I've got videos scheduled on the LMC YouTube channel too. Let me see. I could actually open up the Excel document, but I've got stuff to in the first video, the first slot of the day. I've got stuff up until I think March at the minute, or April, one of the two. There's lots of video content coming out. If you like gameplay, if you like a nice fun, like a nice laugh and a varied topic, just like I say, follow the LMC YouTube channel. Lots of going on, obviously, in the world of Sega and Sonic, and has been over the course of the last year. At the time of recording, they've just put out the Chow in Space cartoon, which immediately got my attention because it had Tikal in it, or the ghost of Tikal, or the spirit of Tikal, or I don't know, or Innocence. Innocence, a video game descriptor. Just Tikal. It's good to see her, and it was nice to see more of the cartoons. Nice little surprise for everybody. Of course, they used Chow in Space, so you finally got to see a bit of Chow in Space, supposedly, and you had the image of Sonic having his nose ripped off, which is an interesting one. Merry Christmas indeed. Merry Christmas indeed. An actual character's nose being ripped off. That was that whole bit at the end there with the hallucination was a bit like Pyro Vision, Pyro from Team Fortress 2, and the alternate reality that they were living in, and they're doing all these terrible Pyros doing actually all these terrible things, but actually the thinks that they're being like nice and lovely and cuddly and friendly, when in actual reality they're just burning people to death. And stuff like that, and instead we have he's managed to pull the bottle off, the end of the bottle off, but we're well aware that that's actually Sonic's nose, and he's just ripped off Sonic's nose for real. Merry Christmas, everybody! Merry Christmas. We're about 48 minutes in. 48 minutes into the show, 2-hour show, lots to get through, as I say. Being as I'm recording this, I can't do some of the standard stuff. I can't do things like Q&A AUK, or whatever it is we called it, because AUK is not a thing anymore. So, whatever it was, Q&A with Kevin, we can't do that because it's recorded. That's unfortunate. Actually, you know what? I wonder if the various RadioSEGA and... Actually, I wonder if both the RadioSEGA and LMC Discords, both of which you should be signing up for, by the way, if you haven't already, because we're probably going to be doing more stuff with RadioSEGA in the future, with any luck. I wonder if they can help out with some questions. I'm going to set them that task and maybe have some lunch, because it's that kind of time of the day. So... I'm going to set that task, and in the meantime, while this is going on, almost like this is happening live in the background, and just pretend that it is, we're actually going to have Star Fox Adventures and Dark Ice Landing Strip, followed by Immortal Kombat from Mortal Kombat 11, Wilbert Roger. David Wise was actually the composer of Dark Ice Landing Strip, by the way. And then a third track. Now, what can we have for a third track? How about Sonic Riders, Zero Gravity, or Shooting Star Story, if you so prefer, and Aquatic Time. And we'll go into those a little bit later. But first, enjoy. classic time from Sonic Riders Zero Gravity by Fumi Kumatani. Well, I asked them. I asked the Discord. I didn't ask the Radio Sega Discord because I realised it would be kind of rude if I suddenly started doing effectively my show prep in the middle while somebody's actually trying to do their show. So I thought that was kind of rude. So instead I asked the LMC Discord, and I did get some questions back to be asked, and hey, let's do that. It's basically the crew answered the call. Let's see what we have, shall we? First up is actually Turbo. Which Sega characters would you like to put together for a wrestling stable, and what would that stable be called? Right, I actually had a bit of a think about this. And I ended up coming up with, not so much a stable as a faction. Okay, so this is what we got. We've got Ethan Thomas from Condemned, Michael Ford from Conduit, Michael Thornton from Alpha Protocol, Sam Gideon from Vanquish, Dan Marshall from Binary Domain, and last but not least, Aidan Geary from Stormrise. So we've got a 6-person faction here. They're coming to take over all of your Sega. All of which, I just realised all these games basically came out when I was working for them. Never mind. So even Thomas, Michael Ford, Michael Thornton, Sam Gideon, Dan Marshall, and Aidan Geary, they are the Forget-Me-Nots. You've forgotten their games, everybody, and they want to get their revenge. They're a very, very motivated heel group. They know where you live. They've already kidnapped Ula and at least half the cast of Super Monkey Ball. And unless their demands are met, I'm afraid there's going to be more crappy mobile ports. It's a pretty strenuous threat. That, and they're gonna rehire the people who did all of the PC ports from the 2008 or 2009. They're gonna rehire Backbone Entertainment. This is what you've got to worry about now. And not only that, every single game will be given DIMPS physics, but later DIMPS physics. Terrifying. What video game would you like to see turned into a board game and vice versa? This is a very difficult question actually now, because so many video game properties get switched into board games now, and indeed vice versa. There's a lot of tactical ones out there. Of course, Sniper Elite, Rebellion just released a Sniper Elite board game, which did gangbusters by the sound of things at the show they were at recently. But everything's got a board game. I think, isn't there like a Devil May Cry board game or something? I mean, there's all the board games that came out in the 80s and indeed late 70s, I think, based on arcade properties. So there's everything from Frogger's got a board game. There's multiple board game versions of Pac-Man. There's been several Sonic-related board games. Or at least, tabletop experiences, let's say. We've got at least there's 3 versions of Monopoly with Sonic. There's the chess Sonic. There's all sorts. There really is. Likewise, other things. I mean, Monopoly is like a subgenre all of itself. But in terms of actual thing, I'm still curious as to what XCOM as a board game is like. I do sort of keep an eye on that just to see if it goes like crazy price any time, and I might get it. But I don't know, video games to become an actual board game, that is... I'd quite like to see, actually, saying that, a like Dungeons and Dragons style adventure, but for Zelda. I think that would be a lot of fun. Again, you could also sort of paste over the top, let's say, something along the lines of Elder Scrolls. Could you see a Skyrim board game? A Skyrim board game with some sort of novelty thing, so you could fuss rodar things. That'd be good. A board game turned into a game, though. Again, there's a lot of crossover here. Discounting. I'm saying this, but discounting versions on Tabletop Simulator, I would like to... Actually, no. I was going to say Red Dragon Inn. No, I want to see a proper video game version of Atmosphere. That's what I want to see. I want to see that. I think it'd be really interesting. It would be yet another way of actually playing that. It's evolved from VHS tapes through to DVD, and it's evolved the experience every time. It's all go. So for its next set of iterations, make it go like a completely digital, making it a. Also, you can make it app based. Maybe. I don't know. I think a properly set up video game, which takes into consideration, the various abilities of PCs nowadays, that would be really good. And you might be able to, if say it came with a peripheral of sorts, might be able to do some sort of like really crazy stuff with that. One for debate, anyway. Any other questions? Double Cross asks, is your mother a mother? Now, that might seem like a very strange question, but we were playing a video game. I was actually streaming on Discord and just playing it along the other day. A game called Kyle is Famous. Is it Kyle is Famous? I actually have to double check this now. I'm slightly doubting my own memory. Kyle is Famous. Yes, Kyle is Famous. You can get it on Steam now for it's a free game. Basically, Kyle tries to prepare for the most important interview of his life, and you choose your path, choose your story one. 21 endings, and you've just got to accept the consequences of this very comedic and zany adventure. And upon writing questions, on Double Cross's playthrough, on writing questions, one of the options was talking about your mother, and you're given three options. One of them is like, is your mother a mother? So it's like, are you a mother? Have you a mother? And is your mother a mother? And Double Cross went for, is your mother a mother? But unfortunately, we never found out the answer to that question, because of the way the game is. It's very, very turn-based. You've got X amount of time. You've got like 30 hours to do various things. You've got 30 turns, or 30 actions, let's say, in order to actually achieve what's being achieved. And we never found out what it was. We're out of time. And instead something else happened, which I won't reveal. But it's a free game, well worth trying. Fun little party thing you can do with friends. If you really want the soundtrack, it's on Steam for sale. And that's going to be my answer for Double Cross. And I didn't answer it. Is my mother a mother? Yes. She's a mother of a son. Which makes that sound like a horrendous insult, but she is. She is a mother. My mother is a mother in every way that a mother can be defined as a mother. There we go. That sounds like a pretty comprehensive answer that even Double Cross can't deny. Let's see. Any other questions? I've got one, which is, why didn't I bring a drink in here before I sat down and started doing the rest of it? Given the opportunity, says Vija, to cross over Sonic with any other franchise, what would you choose? Dangerous. Oh, the dangerous question. Oh God. We'll get to the dangerous question in a minute. Crossing Sonic with another property. Oh, what is that called? You know what? I've completely forgotten the name of that game. It's inspired by Sonic. What's it called? It's actually inspired by Sonic, and I can't remember what it's called. And I own it. What is it? Freedom Planet! That was the one. I'd like to see Freedom Planet cross over with Sonic, actually. Obviously, there is that background, if you're unfamiliar with Freedom Planet, let's say. There is that background going on, so I mean, that would be fun. But in terms of, obviously, gameplay and mechanics, that would switch over well. There's a lot of sort of story beats that would cross over very well as well. And I'd be interested to see what the Freedom Planet dev team could do. So let's say in conjunction with Headcanon, and we'll sort of see what happens from there. That would be very interesting, I think, at the very least. Who else has questions for me? There must be somebody. Urfa asks, how does Santa get down the chimney? Arse first or head first? Well, well, he doesn't so much do that now because everyone's got central heating. So everyone's got central heating, and the end result is that actually Santa made a bit of a deal a while back in terms of the various lock suppliers, like Yale and everything else, and Chubb and people. So actually, what you've got now is that the reason why Santa needs this, you know that jingling of bells you're hearing as Santa's flying through the air. They're not bells at all. It's actually all the keys on this giant key set, this giant key ring that he's got, with all various skeleton keys for everybody's doors and all their locks, everyone's patio doors. You know, everything. He's got a nice, clever little skeleton key. He doesn't need to go down chimneys anymore. And if he doesn't, and in the event of, he's not got one, he can get in contact with the company pretty easy. But if not, he's got a brick. And a swift throw through the window. It's all sorted. Nothing to worry about. So the answer is, does he get down? How does he get down the chimney? Arse and feet first or head first? He doesn't do either. He doesn't go through down chimneys anymore. That's just Christmas propaganda that has been pumped into your awareness by those devious people at the greeting card companies and Hollywood. Don't trust them at all. It's all lies. All of it's lies. Except Santa, he's real. Nice man. Very good at Skittles. So, any more? What was your game of the decade? Game of the decade? Ooh. Wow. Wow, that's a hard one. Video games of the decade. I know, because a lot of the really good ones I've just not played. From there, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say, of the ones that I've played, I wouldn't say it's my favourite one, but I would still say it's game of decade in terms of the ones I've played, and it's I would say Skyrim. I think it's one of the games out there that's had, within the last decade, the most impact on the genre itself. It's brought a new sense of life to the Elder Scrolls franchise, which of course they're still milking that as much as they can. So yeah, I'm going to go with that. That's what I'm going to go with for my choice. And thank you for the question, though. So, what brought you to the community? What brought you to the Sega Sonic community? Well, it was... it's an old tale, but I'll retell it quickly. Basically, I was working at university. I was doing an all-nighter in what was known as the sort of Learning Resource Centre, the LRC. It didn't have libraries or anything then. There was always the Learning Resource Centre. Because libraries weren't cool, but Learning Resource Centres got computers in them. Whereas if you called it a library, then people might not. Anyway, so it was about I'm going to say like 3 a.m. on a Thursday or something. I'm doing an all-nighter to work on what was actually some 3D modelling. I was trying in 3D Studio Max. I was trying to make a car, and I just can't do 3D modelling. I just can't. There was fundamentals about the controls which I just didn't know, and I was desperately trying to get anything to look right. I couldn't get the camera square, so nothing lined up. There was just a big gap in knowledge there, which I think I'd been like ill or something, and I missed a lesson. I just didn't have the knowledge or the notes or something. I just couldn't get it to work. And the software was being buggy too. And I was being distracted by this thing called the internet, which was kind of big at the time. You may have heard of it. The result was I ended up just looking up some old video game stuff that I had been interested in. And when I was a kid, I was kind of into Sonic. Not the game necessarily, because I didn't have an original system. The only Sega system I ever owned was actually the Game Gear, which is another story in and of itself, believe me. But I was always a fan of Sonic and the expanded media. I had a couple of comics back in the day of Sonic the comic, but it was just like a couple I picked up somewhere. I wasn't really a massive fan of them, but Sonic on television, cartoon Sonic, whether that's Satam or Sonic Adventures or something. For some reason, I was suddenly thought the new Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. It was like that was some kind of some additional spin-off I just made up in my head. Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog or Satam or even Underground. Big fan of that. I'd get up early in the morning for on a Sunday. It was usually really on a Sunday as opposed to Saturday. But it was early in the morning on a Sunday, Channel 4. You had Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, and if not, they'd probably show Sharky and George, who are the crime busters of the sea, as I'm sure you remember. And they love any mystery, turns out. Except, why is the sea going all weird, and why are we eating all this plastic? If Sharky and George had continued, it had been this horrendous morality tale. Very dark. But the point was, I was up every up early at the weekend to see this, and if not, I was taping it on the VHS, and I'd see that after either football practice or a football match, depending on what I was doing, because I played in the football team when I was a kid. I was a centre back, and very occasionally I was a left and right back. I was a full-time defender, basically, is what I did. For a town called for a side called Hailsham United, which was the youth team, youth setup, and Hailsham Town's the adult setup. And some at one point my dad was manager of the team because there was nobody else, and that was just misery. I won't get into this. Anyway, point was, I was a big Sonic fan then, and I remember full well in 1992 when everybody went round to Jamie Cox's house. Jamie Cox was in my primary school class, and he lived in the road, or down the road next to mine. So, and we'd sort of hang out and play occasionally on our bikes, as is the norm of when you're that age. And he got Sonic 2, and there was literally a queue of kids who were queuing up to play Sonic 2, or they're queuing up to play as Tails in 2-player mode. So he like completed the game 3 times, and he was an absolute master. One of those kids, played it, mastered it, and oh yeah, now you can play with me. And of course, it got to my turn. Finally, it was literally about like 10 kids in the room, queued up around the TV, outside the room to the landing where the stairs were, and some of them were down the stairs too. And it eventually got to my turn, and I lasted, I don't know, all of about 5 seconds. I felt like as Tails, but I enjoyed it immensely, and things went on from there. But ironically, it was Sonic 2 on the Game Gear, and owning that, I kind of started to lapse from being a fan, because Sonic Triple Trouble on Game Gear, it's one of my favourite games of all time. Legitimately one of my favourite games of all time. I would happily, if you gave me the choice between any other game that's modern and a Game Gear with Sonic Triple Trouble on it, I would pick Sonic Triple Trouble. No joke. But Sonic 2 on the Game Gear was something else. It was a frustrating mess. I've gone on many times about why I hated the game, and it can boil down to one word, which is hang gliders, and having no indication about when the wind was blowing, and it's just endless death, and you just couldn't get past the thing, and it was just so frustrating. Anyway, so I was looking up Sonic and what's going on with Sonic, and one of the things that popped up on what would have been Yahoo at that time was this site called the Sonic Stadium. And I thought, that's a silly name, but I went into it, and it was a competent website, and they were doing something at the time called the Sonic Site Awards. And I read the awards, and I was actually very interested as to how wide this community was, how in depth it was. There was loads of websites out there for Sonic, and I had no idea that those ever existed. I didn't know the Sonic Stadium existed, let alone all these other ones that were going along, and apparently had some of them been going on for a while. That's pretty cool. I found out that Sonic Stadium was British, and that's pretty cool. So hey, maybe they're local, I don't know. Bear in mind that I'm still absolutely bored out of my skull at this point. And I'd been doing my own stuff with kevskingdom.com at that stage, which is my old website, which I did some creative writing and drabbles, as you would call it now, little skit things and what have you. And I was reading through all these things, and then I got to Sprite Comics, and I didn't know Sprite Comics were a thing either. Never seen one before. I knew that there were people doing web comics out there, but not Sprite Comics. And I looked at the Sprite Comics that they had in it, and the ones that had won. And I looked, and I actually said out loud, there's nobody else in it, but talk about moment of not destiny exactly, but moment your life changed, I said out loud to nobody in this room, "That's rubbish," and it was. Honest to goodness, it was the Sprite Roller one. I can't even remember what it was, but I thought it was really crap. And I said out loud, I could do better than that. And it was around that same time that I'd got myself a GameCube. I bought a GameCube off of a mate. And one of the games that came with it, well, one of the games that I made sure I got with it, I should say, was Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. And Sonic Adventure 2 Battle got me back into being a Sonic fan. And Sonic Adventure 2 Battle inspired me to start doing Sonic Rex. And Sonic Rex ended up being a subsection of KevsKingdom.com. And it grew, and it grew, and slowly it sort of took over. And eventually there came this point where I just had to say, well, it's now this going forward. And I junked everything else. And then Sonic Rex spun off into its own entity. And it came bigger and bigger and bigger. And the comics did better and better and better. And within like a year and a bit, a year or 2 years, I think it was 2 years, it was Sonic Rex that won the Sonic Site Awards webcomic Sprite Award thing. And we were like winning Site of the Year and stuff like that. So it was a pretty major thing. So it was what got me into the actual community was a combination of serendipity with the Sonic Site Awards, but also Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, specifically Battle. I would then go on to buy Sonic Adventure DX and wonder what on earth everyone was so happy about with Sonic Adventure. I thought it was really rubbish. It's dated terribly, absolutely awfully, as I've said many times. But Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, loved it, absolutely loved it, and I kind of got into following the games and playing the games again from that point on. I have spoken for quite a while now, so I am going to head off. And by heading off, that means I'm actually going to play you some more music. Now, I said, actually, we're going to have a little bit of a theme coming up for this next set of musical tracks. And that is that they're all related to the world of driving. In fact, we're not going to have 3 tracks, we're going to have 4 tracks. Lucky old you. So we actually got first up DK Snowboard Cross from Mario Kart Wii. That's going to be your first track, and then following that we've got I'll tell you what, we'll put it together because why not? We'll put Mario Kart in with Team Sonic Racing. So Team Sonic Racing's going to be the second track. Ice Mountain's lap music from Ice Mountain, obviously done by Hyper Potions and Junsonoy. And after that, well, I'll introduce you to some more tracks. Why not? We'll have 2 tracks. I'll introduce the next 2, and then just get a little break here. Hope you're enjoying Radio Sega Winterfest. I certainly am. More to come. Stay tuned.
Radio Redux.
Hyper Potions Jinsenoi. I'll be honest, I'm not a massive fan of Hyper Potions, but I do appreciate the Ice Mountain Lap music. So, a nice combination there, Mario Kart Wii and Team Sonic Racing, aka Sonic and No All-Stars Racing. Up next, we have two tracks. One is from Laurent Julier, and it's called Cold Light. We're sticking with some cold and wind-related theme stuff in here, as you may have gathered. This is a very nice, chilled-out track, and is from the Sine Wave Digital radio channel from The Crew, actually. And if you've never listened to any of that, I would recommend doing so. The Sine Wave Digital channel, which I didn't put in The Crew 2, which I really don't understand why. Big shame. Legitimately a reason that impacted me buying the game, because they didn't have any of that in. So Cold Light is first. It's a very chill, relaxed one. Really good music to work to. Really, very good music to work to. We're going to follow that up with something that's a little bit more high tempo, a little bit more energy, and that's going to be from the artist Dusty from the Initial D Best Song Collection album, Love Injection, the extended mix FO. That's the next two tracks. First up, it's The Crew and Laurent Julier's Cold Light. Love Injection. That ends our sort of quartet of driving games. Anyway, so there was actually another set of questions, and I say another set. But the Random Genius Tier Black did actually send me some questions. Actually sent me a number of questions. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait, 7? Yes, 7! And 7 must mean it's time for the Magnificent 7. An old favourite from Radio Redux gone by. When Demix of Sonic Star used to give me 7 questions that I would answer. Well, I guess it's TA Black's Magnificent 7. So let's start off. What was your most surprising video game related announcement for 2019? He asks. The Sonic movie. The Sonic movie redesign actually looking good. I could honestly talk for a very long time about recent stuff involving the Sonic movie. There's a lot of very upsetting stuff, especially in the last few days, that should really be unpacked and unpacked well. Maybe the likes of TSSE will do a bit more of an in-depth piece on that, and if so, I recommend reading that. But the fact that they actually did the redesign, fair enough. The fact that it looked good, that surprised me. And it was essentially everything that we kind of wanted in terms of a design, what was acceptable in terms of parameters of the movie, and the reimagining of the design. It was so much better. I've just seen question 3. I'm not happy with question 3. But it was so much that we actually wanted, and it just delivered. So I was surprised by that. I was legitimately surprised by that. Given that we're in the era of remasters, what one game would you like to see remastered or remade? Turrican 2. Turrican series as a whole. I know that it's in copyright hell in terms of who owns what, including who owns the name, who owns the games. I don't actually know who owns the games anymore. That's another one. But HD cell shaded type version of Turrican, I think would be great. Turrican 2, Turrican 3, Mega Turrican, whichever one you would call the last one. That would be something I'd really, really like to see. Number 3 is, what is the unofficial meme of the year? I don't know. What memes have been big in 2019? That's a good question. Google, tell me, and I will give you an idea. 2019 popular memes. It's not that. Let's see. I'm going to say. I'm gonna say the Avenge the Fallen meme from the last Avengers film. I'm gonna say that. But for want of anything else going on, I'm going to say that. Yeah, no bottle cap challenges or anything like that. It's gonna be that. Okay, we'll go with that. Fine. In second place, I don't know. Actually, I'm just looking through this and just going, none of these are funny. Maybe all the memes from Untitled Goose Game. Let's go with that. I love Untitled Goose Game. I really do. Probably my favourite new game franchise, if you like. Oh, that's handy. Number 7's about the goose. Okay, that's good. Which one game released in 2019 would you have most liked to play? Oh, Untitled Goose Game. Quite simply that. I love, like I say, Untitled Goose Game. I've watched so many YouTube videos about Untitled Goose Game. I can't wait to get my hands on the game, become a horrible goose, and just ruin the lives of an entire village. I think it's the most excitement I've got to look forward to on the Switch or PC when it actually comes to PC without, the silly store nonsense. So I'm going to go on the basis of that. What is your pick for the 5th DLC character of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate? Oh, well, they're doing more now, though, aren't they? They're doing more now. Who would be a good... Oh, actually, I've got one. Harrier from Space Harrier. That's my choice. Next one. It's never going to happen. But if you'd have asked me before, I'd have done Terry. And he's going in now. So I'm gonna stick with that. I'm going to stick with that. Or the goose. Goose would be hilarious. Given the continuing trend of video games and as movies or TV shows, what series would you like to see on the big screen? What would be an interesting one? You know what? I mentioned it earlier as part of one of the answers. Actually, Binary Domain. I think Binary Domain would be a very interesting television series if fully realised. There's a few others as well, but maybe Binary Domain. Maybe Condemned too, actually. I mean, like a really dark one. Condemned would be interesting to do. Condemned would be basically horror Stranger Things. I could see that happening. And the final question of the this alternate version of Magnificent Seven is the Goose, megalomaniac, mastermind, or just misunderstood? Is this the book written by Rita Skeeter, by any chance? Megalomaniac, mastermind, or just misunderstood? No, the Goose is a bastard. It is a Machiavellian schemer. It is a torturer. It is a school bully. If it had the ability to, that Goose would, pull the wings off of flies. It pull legs off of spiders. It would attack an ant nest with a magnifying glass. It would dunk you headfirst in the toilet and then flush away. That is what that Goose is. It is not misunderstood in the slightest. If you've seen the end game of Untitled Goose Game, believe me when I say it is everything you thought it was. That's the end of that series of questions. We are under 10 minutes to go. Goodness me. Up next on Winterfest, he says, because who knows, the schedule might have changed. But if you're listening to this live, you've got the following coming up immediately after this show. You've got Sword of Sega, hosted by True Skies, aka Captain Cloud Tracer, and she's going to be giving us some more RPG related music. You've got her for a couple of hours, actually. A couple of hours of Sword of Sega. Brilliant to see Sword of Sega back, actually. I know it takes a lot of work, Sword of Sega. Sega Mixer Drive with Rexy follows on. And then 2 hours after that, or perhaps longer if Rexy overruns, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, is Skyblaze with Hidden Palace for a good hour's wondrous music with her. And then we get to round things off the Sega Lounge with KC. And who knows, there may be other stuff. I don't know. Things might have switched around. I know there's been some stuff on the Saturday which has switched around. So if you want to find out more, and for the very, very latest, obviously, make sure you follow Radio Sega on Twitter at Radio Sega. Alternatively, radiosega.net for the very latest in what's happening. And obviously to make sure you're listening into the rest of the stuff. And if you are getting to this at a later date, if you're listening to this on... If you're listening to this on the likes of Spotify or iTunes or what have you, then why not head over to Radio Sega anyway? 24/7 stream, awesome music, awesome folks doing awesome shows. We need to have some awesome music to finish up though. So we've got Tap a Go Go is the first track from Let's Tap, actually, by the artist Yam, followed by... a remix by Amphibious from the Sonic Zone remix competition, another OC remix track, and it's called Bone Shark, which is actually a mix of Rusty Ruin and Aquarium Park. Last but not least, though, is Go Infinity Ignite Infinity remix by Annette Marie Cottrell from Phantasy Star Portable 2 Infinity. That's not something you get played on Radio Sega often, I'm guessing. Anyway, those are the tracks. And that, folks, is the end of the show. Thank you so much indeed for listening in. I'll be back at some point in the future, no doubt. Maybe next Winterfest. Who knows? Or maybe, just maybe, there might be some other Radio Reduxes coming soon in the future. You never know. Enjoy your Christmas. Enjoy your New Year. See you in 2020. Bye, everybody.